For 7 years, Adaeze had prayed, fasted, swallowed bitter herbs from local healers, and visited hospitals that smelled of bleach and burnt fish. But her womb remained as quiet as an abandoned house. Each month, her cycle came, like a cruel messenger, reminding her of what she lacked. The first time Adaeze heard her mother-in-law use the word barren, she felt it slice through her chest like a hidden blade when she thought Adaeze was still asleep in the next room. "She has given you nothing, my son," Mama Ejika said, her voice tight with frustration. "What are we waiting for? You must marry another wife. I need to carry my grandchildren before my bones return to dust." Adaeze was still sleeping that morning, tears burning her eyes. Her body turned towards the mud wall. She wasn't truly asleep, but she couldn't gather the courage to move. Her husband, Ejike, said nothing in reply. His silence was worse than any agreement, and silence meant he was considering it. For 7 years, Adaeze had prayed, fasted, swallowed bitter herbs from local healers, and visited hospitals that smelled of bleach and burnt fish. But her womb remained as quiet as an abandoned house. Each month, her cycle came, like a cruel messenger, reminding her of what she lacked. By the time she turned 33, the silent talks had turned into open gossip. Women at the market would look at her and sigh. Some would pat her shoulder as if she were a sick child. Others muttered curses about her blocking her husband's lineage, and this made Adaeze desperate. And desperation is a dangerous thing. One night, she decided to go to the river. The moon was swollen and pale. She had heard stories that the goddess of the river could bless a woman's womb. But Adaeze told herself it was just superstition. But when hope has dried up, even superstition becomes water to the thirsty. That night, she went alone. The path was silent, except for the sound of crickets and the occasional hoot of an owl. Her wrapper clung to her skin with sweat, though the night air was cool. Every step felt like a rebellion against the God her pastor had told her to trust. But she had trusted, hadn't she? And nothing came. At the edge of the river, she knelt. Her hands trembled as she untied the small calabash she carried, filled with palm oil, kola nuts, and the white hen offerings she had been told the goddess loved. "Please," Adaeze whispered, her voice cracking. "Please give me a child. Just one. I am begging you, and I'll do anything you ask of me." The water stirred, though no wind blew. A soft humming filled the air, low and haunting, like a song half remembered from a dream. Then the water rippling outward, forming the faint shape of a woman's face. Eyes deep as the riverbed itself stared back at her. "You dare come to me?" The voice echoed before her, yet all around her. "You, who pray to another god, now seek my blessing?" Adaeze's forehead touched the earth. "I am desperate. I will give anything." The river goddess laughed, the sound like rushing water over sharp stones. "Anything? Then hear me. I will give you the child you long for, but she will belong to me. As long as she lives, she must never enter my waters. She must never bathe in the river, never swim, never play in the rain." Keep her dry, and she will live. Let her touch my waters, and I will claim what is mine." Adaeze's heart pounded, but she nodded. "I agree. Just give me the child." The water rose suddenly, splashing over her feet. Coldness seeped into her bones. When she looked up, the river was calm again, as if nothing had happened. But inside her, something shifted. She knew without a doubt that she would conceive. 2 months later, Adaeze missed her period. By the 3rd month, her belly began to swell. Ejike, who had grown cold and distant, now smiled again. Mama Ejike, once sharp-tongued, danced around the compound with joy. "At last!" she shouted to the neighbors. "At last! My son is a complete man now." When the baby came, it was a girl. They named her Chisom, God is with me. Though Adaeze never forgot that, it was not God who had answered her prayer. Chisom was beautiful, with eyes that sparkled like morning dew and laughter that rang like bells. But Adaeze raised her with careful rules. She avoided playing outside during heavy rain. She never went near streams. Even her baths were done with bowls inside the house, never with running water. As the years passed, people began to notice Chisom's fear of water. At birthday parties, when other children splashed happily in inflatable pools, Chisom stood aside, clutching her mother's wrapper. At school, when the rain surprised them, Chisom would cry until someone covered her with an umbrella. The other children mocked her. "Are you a cat?" they teased. "Why are you scared of water? Even babies like rain." Adaeze would hug her tightly at night, whispering, "Ignore them, my child. One day, you will understand." But she never told her the truth. How could she? How do you explain to a child that she was born with a covenant that could kill her? By the time Chisom turned 18, she was tall, graceful, and clever. But the mockery had only grown sharper. Her classmates laughed whenever she avoided swimming lessons. They called her dry fish. They splashed water at her just to watch her panic. Her teachers scolded her, thinking it was childish fear. Even Ejike, who once begged the heavens for her birth, grew impatient. "Let her be," Adaeze would shout when he tried to force her. "You don't understand." But in truth, Chisom herself was tired. Tired of being the odd one. Tired of living with invisible chains. She wanted freedom, but she didn't know the price of it. And then, one rainy afternoon, everything changed. It started as a joke. A group of boys at school decided to tease her again. The rain had just stopped, and the river behind the school was swollen, rushing with power. They cornered her by the bank, laughing at her pale face. "Maybe if we push her in, she will finally learn to swim," one shouted. "No!" Chisom cried, her voice breaking. "Don't touch me!" But before she could run, a strong hand pushed her from behind. Her body pitched forward, arms swinging. She felt the cold slap of water against her skin, and then everything went silent. When Chisom hit the water, the cold rushed into her bones like 1,000 tiny knives. She opened her mouth to scream, but water flooded in instead. Her arms flailed, her body twisting helplessly as the river pulled her under. For a split second, she thought she saw a face beneath the surface, eyes glowing faintly, lips curved in a knowing smile. It wasn't human. Neither was it natural. Her lungs screamed for air. Then suddenly, she felt a strong grip pulling her upward. "Grab my hand!" a voice shouted above the roar of the river. Chisom felt her arm yanked hard, and in seconds she was coughing and spitting water on the muddy riverbank. Her chest heaved and her body shook uncontrollably. The boys who had pushed her stood frozen, their laughter dead in their throats. The boy who had pulled her out, Uche, one of her classmates, was kneeling beside her. His face was pale from shock. "Are you mad?" he barked at the others. "You could have killed her." But Chisom barely heard him. Her mind was somewhere else. She could still feel it, the eyes in the water, the humming voice that wasn't a voice. You shouldn't have done that," she whispered, more to herself than anyone. "What?" Uche asked, but she shook her head violently, hugging her knees. The boys muttered excuses and ran off, afraid of being caught by teachers. Uche stayed, his shirt soaked, his arms scratched from dragging her out. He looked at her like she was fragile, a glass. "You're safe," he said softly. But Chisom knew that wasn't true. When Chisom got home that evening, her mother knew instantly. One look at her daughter's soaked clothes and pale skin, and Adaeze dropped the basket she was holding. Yams rolled across the floor, forgotten. "Chisom!" she screamed. "Tell me you didn't." Tears filled the girl's eyes. "Mama, they pushed me. I fell into the river." Is law, Adaeze's knees gave way, and she collapsed to the ground. She clawed at her head tie, wailing, "No, no, no, what have you done?" "Mama, stop!" Chisom cried, clutching her mother's shoulders. "I'm alive, nothing happened." But Adaeze's hands trembled as she cupped her daughter's face. She searched her eyes as if expecting to see something missing. "You don't understand. You don't understand what you've done." Chisom pulled back, confused and angry. "Why are you acting like this? It was just water. Everyone swims. Everyone plays in the rain. Why am I the only one treated like I'll die from it?" Adaeze's lips quivered. She wanted to keep silent, to hold the secret until her dying breath. But the fear in her chest was heavier than stone. "Because you are not like everyone else," she whispered. That night, Adaeze told her daughter the truth. She sat on the edge of the bed, the lamp casting long shadows across the walls. Her voice shook as she confessed how she had gone to the river goddess, how she had begged for a child, how the covenant had been sealed. Chisom listened, her face pale, her hands clutching the bedsheet so tightly her knuckles whitened. "So I was born because of her?" she asked at last, her voice barely audible. Adaeze nodded, tears spilling. "Yes, and she will come for you if we break the covenant. That is why I've protected you all your life." Chisom shook her head, disbelief written across her face. "Mama, this is madness. A goddess? A covenant? Do you expect me to believe I'll die just because of water?" "You fell into the river today," Adaeze said, her eyes wild. And yet you saw something, didn't you? Chisom froze. The memory of those glowing eyes beneath the water sent a chill down her spine. She swallowed hard. I don't know what I saw. Adaeze grabbed her hands. You must never, ever go near the river again. Swear it to me, Chisom. Swear it. But Chisom pulled her hands away. She felt trapped, suffocated. All her life she had been mocked, humiliated, and now she was learning it was all because of some secret deal her mother made before she was even born. She wanted to scream, she wanted to run, but deep inside, a darker truth gnawed at her. Maybe her mother wasn't lying. That night, Chisom dreamed of water. She was standing on the surface of the river, the moon above her glowing like a lantern. The water beneath her feet shimmered, calling her name. Chisom, Chisom. Then the water rose, forming into the shape of a tall woman draped in flowing garments of liquid. Her eyes glowed like crystal stones, and her hair streaming like waves. You are mine, the goddess said, her voice both sweet and terrifying. Your mother gave you to me. 18 years I have waited. 18 years, and now you have touched my waters. The covenant is broken. Chisom tried to run, but her legs sank into the river as if it were quicksand. Cold water climbed up to her waist, her chest, her neck. She woke up screaming, her bedsheet drenched in sweat. The next morning, Adaeze was shocked when she saw a faint, shimmering mark on Chisom's shoulder, shaped like a fish fin. What is this? Adaeze whispered, her voice trembling. Chisom looked at it in the mirror, shocked too. Then she rubbed at it. What's happening to me, Mama? She cried. Adaeze wrapped her arms around her, sobbing. Chisom felt anger rising in her chest, hot and fierce. No, I won't let some river witch decide my life. I won't. But her words felt empty, because even as she spoke, she could feel it, the pool of the water, whispering to her, calling her by name. That evening, as the sky darkened, Chisom stood by the window staring at the clouds. Thunder rumbled in the distance. The smell of rain filled the air. Her heart pounded as the first drop hit the ground. Soon the rain fell heavily, drumming on the roof. The rain hammered against the roof, as if the sky itself wanted to break into the house. She felt the burning again, and the mark on her shoulder was burning like fire. And before she could move, before she could even scream, she heard the goddess's voice again. Come to me, child. Mama, she cried, her voice breaking. Mama, it's burning. Adaeze rushed into the room, her wrapper soaked from the short dash she had made to shut the leaking window in the kitchen. When she saw Chisom's face, pale and terrified, she didn't ask questions. She grabbed her daughter's wrist and yanked her away from the window. Stay away from the rain, she screamed, slamming the shutters closed. Do you hear me? Don't let it touch you. But even with the shutters shut tight, Chisom still felt it, the call. It wasn't just a whisper anymore. It was a roar inside her head, demanding and pulling her. Come to me. Come home, my child. Adaeze held her daughter, rocking her back and forth as though she were still a child of 5. Her tears soaked into Chisom's hair. I should never have gone to that river, she whispered frantically. I thought I was giving you life. Forgive me, my child. Forgive me." Chisom trembled in her arms. "Mama, what's happening to me? Why can I hear her voice? Why does it feel like the rain wants to take me?" Adaeze pulled back and cupped her face. "Because you belong to her. She gave you to me. Now that you've touched the water, she is coming to take you back." "No," Chisom said, shaking her head violently. "I'm not hers. I'm yours. I don't care about some goddess." But even as the words left her mouth, her body betrayed her. Her feet shifted restlessly. She felt an urge to step outside, to let the rain wash over her. It was like hunger, raw and painful. Adaeze saw it and tightened her grip. "You must resist. Promise me, Chisom. Promise me you won't go near the rain." Chisom bit her lip until it bled. "I promise," she whispered. But deep inside, she wasn't sure she could keep it. Over the next few days, the mark on Chisom's shoulder grew darker, more visible. It no longer looked like a faint fish fin. It was now clear, curling into a spiral. At night, it glowed faintly in the dark, like a lantern under her skin. Every night, she was standing on the river, her reflection staring back at her with glowing eyes that weren't her own. Every night, the goddess called her closer. "You were born of me," the voice said. "Why fight your nature? You are water. You cannot hide from what you are." Chisom would wake up gasping, drenched in sweat, her throat aching as if she had been swallowing water. She tried to hide it from her mother, but Adaeze knew. She heard her daughter's screams in the night. She saw the growing darkness in her eyes, and she knew time was running out. One evening, Ejike returned from the farm to find his wife and daughter whispering urgently in the kitchen. His face hardened. "I am tired of this madness," he barked. "What is wrong with the girl? Why is she acting like a lunatic whenever it rains? Why is everyone saying she almost drowned and now walks like a ghost?" Adaeze stepped forward, her voice trembling but firm. "Leave her alone. You don't know what's at stake." Ejike slammed his hand on the table, rattling the plates. "Because you won't tell me. All these years, Adaeze, you've hidden things from me. I am her father, yet I know nothing. What curse have you placed on my child?" Chisom flinched at his words. Curse. That was how people would see her if they knew the truth. Adaeze's voice cracked as she shouted back. "If you knew, you would hate me. You would hate her. You would understand that what I did was for this family, for you, for your mother, for your lineage." Ejike froze. His eyes narrowed. "What did you do, Adaeze?" Silence stretched like a knife between them. And then thunder boomed outside. The rain began again. Chisom shivered. Her shoulder burned like fire. And before anyone could stop her, she bolted. She ran out into the rain. The drops hit her skin like sparks. She gasped as her body trembled. The mark on her shoulder glowed brightly now, pulsing in rhythm with the falling rain. "Chisom!" Adaeze screamed, rushing after her. She grabbed her arm, yanking her back under the shelter. But Chisom fought her, tears streaming down her face. "I can't stop it, Mama! I can't!" Adaeze held her tight. ignoring the rain, soaking her wrapper. You must fight it. You are stronger than her. You are mine, Chisom, not hers. But then Chisom's eyes changed. Just for a second, they glowed faintly, reflecting the stormy sky. Adaeze staggered back in horror. Her daughter wasn't just being called. She was changing.